Hello there, Barb Pask back at you again. I'm going to play around and do something a little bit different. Painting on a 6x6" panel. This is a label off of it. I love these panels. They're like 3/8 inch thick canvas on hard panel. They've got the keyhole in the back. Sweet, just on a little easel. It's what I paint a lot of my pet commissions on. Anyway, at the end of this month, they're having a competition here local where I live, and it's the theme is animals, so pretty open theme, and it's a fundraiser for the Humane Society. So I have one painting I'm going to enter, and got thinking it'd be fun to maybe try to do another one. This is my grand dog. I do have some other photos where you can actually see his eyes. So I like this, and I cropped it square. I like his tongue out. Don't think I'll put all this stuff in, but I do want to get those eyes in there somehow. And I'm going to use something that I've only used about one time, cold wax medium. I bought this one time. You know how you have to, as an artist, I think you need to own every product. Try it out. I'll show you what it looks like. I put some of it out there on my palette. And this is cold wax medium, so you just mix it with oil paint. There is encaustic painting, which is wax, and you heat that up. And that can be toxic. This you just mix with your oil paint. It said if you're going to use more than 1/3 cold wax, then they recommend a rigid support, which this is. So I don't know what part I'll mix it. I've just put a blob of it out there. I'm going to play around with it. I thought it might help create some nice texture on the painting. I don't really know. We're going to see. So obviously this is a black dog, lots of black. So our challenge with him will be to create, different values so things stand out. As you can see, there's a lot of different values there. And again, I want to put the eyeballs in, so I have to think about that. So let's sketch him on. I think I've got everything I need. We're just going to take some blue and crimson, get something dark, and try to sketch him on with that. Now, let me show you before I get started. I cropped it square, but as you notice, I did not put him dead center. I chose to have more negative space on this side. I didn't want him dead center. So as I sketch him in, I'll look at the negative space probably around him to get him the proportions right. This is a very sweet, very laid-back dog. They bring him down for the holidays and stuff, and you just got to step over him. He just lays on the floor and doesn't cause any trouble. Looks like a bear. I teased her and told her I never can see his eyes, so she recently sent me a batch of photos, my daughter, and said, see, he does have eyes, so you could definitely see his eyes in some of these. But I like this shot. I like the tongue, like I said, and Let's go to the, might be tricky to put the eyes in, I'm not sure. I got a few shots with his eyes. One of them, his hair isn't, I think he's had a haircut in a few of them. Got a little blue tag on his neck. And we'll probably just do a model background. We probably won't paint what we see behind him, which is just trees. All right, we'll start up and put the darkest darks that we see in there first. And actually the darkest darks, you know, is where you can't see his eyes. But again, I think I'd like to see his eyes. So, see, I have this shot. I have this one, which is probably setting more. This is probably more the angle of the view I'm painting. I got that one. Well, we'll see what feels right. I just felt like you should see his eyes some. I think I'm going to start off first with no wax medium, and then we'll, as we get to putting more texture in, we'll use it. Like I say, I only used it one time. I did a bird nest painting, and it's kind of fun, you know. The bird nest had a lot of texture in it. This may be confusing. I'm actually looking at a different painting where I can see the eyes to block in value. We'll be jumping back and forth, I'm not sure. I appreciate my subscribers, I really do. Don't have a whole lot at this point. And maybe I'm making a pest of myself. I figure you don't have to watch it if you feel that way. I personally love to watch people paint, and a lot of his, even though he's black, because he's out in the daylight, a lot of his, he looks gray, you know, a lot of it looks gray, a lot of his fur. And I'm using ultramarine and transparent red oxide, both obviously transparent colors, so as you push them around, they get more transparent. Anyway, this show I was telling you about, it's here local in a gallery up in town, and they half of the fee to submit your artwork goes to Humane Society, and the other half goes to prizes for the artist. So the gallery's not making anything. I think that's really generous of them. And I like that idea, supporting the Humane Society. I don't donate to them frequently. I donated to an animal shelter today, matter of fact, when I know they're doing something really good. And like a while back, the local Humane Society here took in, gosh, if somebody, you know, they were hoarding poodles, and they took in, it's over 100 poodles, and some of them were pregnant, and they did turn themselves in. I think they realized they'd gotten in over their head. The fur around his mouth is a bit warmer and lighter. One thing about using the cold wax medium too is if you do submit to a juried show, you know, I think your work, then they notice it more. You know, it's kind of a different medium than most people are doing, rather than just plain oils. It really doesn't make it any harder. I mean, like I said, I did mess around with it that one time. You know, it does what you'd think it would. It's wax, so. Kind of, because so much of them is the same color, I'm kind of getting that value in all over, and then I figure I can go on top and lighten him and add texture. So that's what I'm thinking. This is a big dog. It's probably 100 pounds maybe. And I can't remember the breed right now. I should know that. Maybe I'll think of it while we're on here. It's trained as a service dog. Looks like a teddy bear, don't it? Yeah, I don't always work this way, but I think, like I said, we're just kind of blocking him in, and then we'll go from there. I didn't have a lot of, I mean, I have a lot of animal images, but none that were mine to paint, so, you know, I wanted it to be my image. You know what I mean? Got to be careful. You can't just go taking images off of the internet and painting them. Not that it's mine exactly, but I think she'll be okay with it. Yeah, put it in the show, and if it doesn't sell, I'll give it to her. If it does sell, I'll probably have to paint it again. I say we're just blocking him in at this point. All right, let's get some color on that tongue. Obviously pink. For me, there's two options. I have crimson and I have Cad Red Light on here. Those are the pinks I've got. This is crimson and white. It's really early in the game, but I'm grabbing my liner brush to put this color in under his nostrils. May or may not stay there, we'll see. All right, let's look at those eyes and think about that. You really can't see a lot. This is the pose that most closely resembles what I've got here. And he looks, as you can see, more brown in that photo. Here's the outside photo that we're painting from. Much more gray tones. See, that's what's tricky about when you do pet commissions. You know, you can only paint what you see in the photo. And sometimes I'm sending them emails saying, you know, what color is it exactly, and because in this photo it looks yellow, in this photo he looks more white, and I mean, I know you should be picky about the photos that you take from people, but sometimes the animal's deceased and they don't have a lot of photos, so you do the best you can. But I do have some rules. If I'm going to do more than one pet, they have to be in one photo. The reason being is the lighting, for one. Another is the sizing. I had a friend years ago, she's a good painter, and she did, I think it was like 5 dogs altogether, and she took them from different photos. Well, at the end, they wouldn't take it because the animals, the sizing was wrong on the animals. You know, how do you know if they're not together? It's amazing the difference that lighting makes in a photo. Again, look at the color of him here. Look at the color of him here outside. And that's what we're going by, so. He is a black dog. Let's go ahead and get a wash on the background, and that way then we can just start adding texture to the dog. I would say he's more cool tones, you know, grays, but cool color. So maybe we'll do a warm background. We'll use all 3 primaries and white, and then we're going to keep it, I think, toward the warm side. See what we think of that. I actually feel as though I want to keep it fairly light so the dog pops. This is charcoal, by the way. Don't know if I told you that. Which is gray-black, right? He should be. That's his name, Charcoal. And I'll be framing this. I've got some 6x6 frames. Have to frame it for a competition. Just kind of working it down into here so I can pull the hair out over the background. Can't believe it's going to be 2020. we're going, we celebrate with some friends every year. We've done it probably at least 25 years. And I remember well bringing in 2,000 with them. It's just hard to believe. Life is shooting by, picking up pace. Not complaining though. I always say, hey, we're still here, right? I'm still here. I'm happy to be here. I got a lot to do yet. A lot of painting to do. I haven't painted everything in the world yet. You want to kind of see where I've got him at? Let's see. Again, that's the photo I'm working from. And trying to put some eyeballs in there, so. All right, now I think what we'll do, let's look at the eyes again before we start doing anything here. I know I had that catch light in there, but I've got the eyes pretty much a brown color, which I think they are. So I want to make sure to get that pupil in there. And then we'll put the catch lights back. Right, back to the other one. I think I'm going to mix up some gray and put some coal wax medium in it. I said you don't want to use over a third, which I'm not. When I did it the other time, once it's dry completely with the wax, you can buff the painting to bring up the sheen. It needs to be lighter. You see he's got little puffball ears. A little confusing painting from two different poses, really. I'm using the color in the one, you know, but I'm trying to show his eyes. We're going to mix up something warmer to put around his mouth. I got a lot of paint on there. And just because I'm laying it on with a knife doesn't mean I'll leave it that way. I may come in with a brush and brush it around. Very dark under there. Yeah, it's a little confusing. Tongue's a little long. Get our brush in here a little bit and push some things around. That's not staying like that. Kind of see some shadow up in there. I'm going to mix up a little more of this pink for the tongue, and I'm going to throw some of this Cool Wax Medium in it. You know, I thought it might be kind of fun to have a little more texture on the tongue, huh? I mean, I realize I could get that with oil paint, but I wanted to be able to say it had Cool Wax Medium in it. variety in there. Let's try that. All right, let's look at some of this hair now. I'm just looking at him. I mean, would you even know it was a dog? I'm not sure. Not an easy breed, is it, to recognize, probably. Boulier. I can't think what he is. Maybe you know. You know, and maybe I'd be better off to have the hair over the eyes. I don't know. I don't think you can connect with them as well if they don't have eyes. Trying to get something pretty dark here. Let's go back and look at that other one where I can see his eyes more. Boy, it's amazing the difference in the color. He's like brown in that one and black in this one. Blue tag on there. might brighten that blue up even with some phthalo even. Might be pretty, you know. I've only got these two blues on here. They're not doing a lot. Squirt a little phthalo out there. That's some crazy blue in it. Boy, you gotta be careful with that stuff. A lot of people keep it on their palette all the time. You just gotta know how to use it. Definitely a pretty blue. It's a lot richer. I think it looks better. All right, I'm looking at eyes and playing around, adjusting some values. Getting it darker where I think it needs to be. All right, we're going to again try a little more wax in it this time. you know, you could take a liner brush and paint in every little hair, but I don't want to do that. I don't enjoy that either. I could never spend months and months on one painting either. I know some people do that. I think I'd grow to hate it if I did that. Trying to get a little lighter. Going to put some blues in him. Have a little fun here. I'm looking at him and I think his tongue might be a little big yet. Vary the color in the background a little bit. Pull some of that out into there. Looking at the shape of him here. Might try to put a little highlight on that tongue. Let's see. got his nose really dark, but I think it feels a little more brown than I have it. Oh, he's funny. Yeah, here's an example, you know, if you received all these photos to paint from, you know, you'd have to pin them down on what kind of color they wanted on the dog. He's charcoal, so he's, I mean, that's his name, but he is charcoal colored, so he's gray-black. But like, say, the pictures that were shot in the inside light, he definitely feels a lot more brown, much, much warmer. So, and if this was the only photo they gave you, you would have to hope it was right, you know. Let me look at his ears in the other photos. See if that's what they look like. They're just little nubs. Let me show you where I'm at on him. See what you think. Again, this is without any eyes, and I've created eyes, but you can see I'm trying to get it together for you. Hard to do that, isn't it? You can see the tongue and the nose, but then I used the eyes from one of the other photos. Putting in a few more of those darks. Trying to decide how to feel about him. Use that to pull some hairs out. See that I took that down too far on that side. Let me get some dark and a little light in the eye there. All right, we're gonna call quits here and decide, do I like him well enough to submit him? He's a cute dog, but, again, he's a little bear-like, so would you understand it was a dog? He doesn't have typical dog ears, but if I don't decide to use it for that, I'll give it to my daughter. We may come back and sign this later. Take it off. I think I can do better after it dries a little bit. So I'll show you the dog. Let me get you in front of it. We spent about an hour on him. And again, it's really cute, but again, he's kind of bear-like, Let me take you in a little bit. See, I did put in his eyes. I like the tongue, I like the tag, and you can see the blues in him. Here's the image, the tongue and the lighter colors around the face. Got a little tricky trying to put eyes in that weren't there. Can't see a lot of detail even there, but see how brown he looks here? And I know he's a black dog, well, charcoal colored, but it's cute, whatever it is, but I don't know that it feels like a dog. It'll feel like her dog to her, so and if I painted him just as he was in the photo and covered up the eyes, I don't think you would interact with it as much. I think animals need eyes. Well, there it is. I have to figure out whether I want to submit it or not. Because I got a feeling if it hung there, people would be coming up and saying to me, is that a bear or is that a dog? What do you think? Bear or dog? He's cute, isn't he? But like I said, he's got these little ears. See his ears? They're just little nubs. I should have chose a more recognizable breed probably, but all right. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.